take a look at what they're playing. It is, of course, going to be the Charizard EX for Michael Pramawat, and then it's going to be the Lost Zone box. This one being one of those turbo varieties for John Mostowy. I remember talking to Pram, weirdly enough. It was this event last year, and I was interviewing him. I was asking him kind of how you make your deck decision, and he did just say to me, just play what's on the pack art. Which is a quote that's lived with me as I try and make deck decisions. And yeah, he's gone with that with the Charizard EX. So following up on that, a whole calendar year later for me.
It's not just the pack art, it's the pack art.
Yeah.
Charizard is the poster child of Obsidian Flames. And ever since, I believe it was Cabrita Regionals, able to take it down, and as well, what, like 4 or 5 in top 8. And from there, everyone's just been adapting the list. There's 3 big different ways to play Charizard EX, and Michael Pramawat is opting for the heavy Arven build in this match.
Well, you were saying as well that, you know, it did get the addition of that new Charmander too, and that's really big, being able to, you know, make sure that you've got a better Charmander to try and survive a little bit longer. Can be really important in this matchup if you are looking at a turn 2 Sableye. The Sableye is not going to be able to take out 2 of your Charmander. Doesn't save you against something like the Radiant Greninja, but definitely an interesting kind of matchup. I think it leans a little more in the Charizard's favor. I think that's what a lot of people feel like. But there is a world where maybe Pram gets a slow start, John's able to get a really turbo start, and then they'll be in a great position to have a nice close match. They are both going with the Mew EX as well, something that late game could get really interesting for either of these trainers. You know, being able to just steal a move that, if your opponent has a move that can help you win the game, why not, right?
And actually looking through the list too, Michael Pramawat's actually playing one of the new Charizard EX from 151. Just having that attack to be able to do massive amounts of damage really kind of helps shore up a lot of the matchups that you're kind of just hitting for 180 for the first couple of turns.
Yeah, making sure that you can close out games in a couple different ways could be really big. There's obviously a lot of nuances, as per usual, to Pram's deck. Kind of interesting little choices. The one you called out is the Radiant Serena, which could help out if there is just going to be some stacking with the Sableye, making those numbers even harder to reach. But looking at John's list, you know, very much the turbo build. Nothing too crazy in that one. You know, just making sure he's ready to get the Sableyes going nice and early. Just fill your Lost Zone and then go crazy by throwing damage counters all over the board.
You know, even opting with Pokestop as the stadium of choice, just to try to get all those really beneficial item cards like Lost Vacuum to help artificially inflate your Lost Zone count towards that turn 2, turn 3 to get a really fast start with Lost Mine from Sableye, or the Mirage Gates active so you can Moonlight Shuriken with Greninja.
Yeah, if you spin the stop and you get 3 perfect cards, which is very possible in this deck, you know, it's not particularly big. Once you obviously manage to get out all your Pokemon, right, you fill the board with Pokemon, you don't mind, you get the numbers there. But a big loss for John right off the bat, actually a big loss for both of them, as their Radiant Pokemon, Serena and Greninja respectively, are in the prizes. So John's turbo option of just taking out these Charmanders with something like that Radiant Greninja is not an option, and it also limits his option for, you know, digging through the deck with the concealed cards.
I think it definitely hurts John a little bit more than Michael Pramawat here, just because Serena's kind of like the counter play to what John's going to do in the next couple of turns.
Well, he's going to find out pretty much immediately as he opens up with the Battle VIP pass, is just making sure that he's got all the pieces in there, grabbing some Comphase, and as he finishes this deck search, he's going to realize exactly where that Greninja is. Maybe going back for a second look here, can't believe that he's not going to have access to that card right away.
Now, Lost Zone does play a card like Hisuian Heavy Ball to be able to search out that Radiant Greninja from the prize cards. No real way to search for it except for 4 Seal Stones, so you're going to have to just naturally draw into it. It does happen, though. You see a lot of cards with this deck.
Yeah, you really do accelerate through. We'll see what's in the hand, hopefully. Pram going with the full theme as well there with the Charizard sleeves. Do have to call that one out. But there's your second Battle VIP pass, so he's able to fill the bench with all the pieces he may need. Maybe grab another attacker and just set himself up for a little bit later. Obviously, leave a bench space in case he can get access to that Radiant Greninja. But for now, you know, making sure he's got a Sableye ready to go. He's already got the 3 Comfey down, 1 in the active, 2 on the bench. So should be able to start setting up the board just how he needs it. There's 1, which is going to be the Sableye. We'll see what he takes as the second.
Again, this is where you would kind of want that Radiant Greninja, but Cramorant is a good secondary choice. It is very good at taking knockouts on Charmanders and Pidgey, not very much Entei V. And one thing you can kind of be worried about if you see your opponent playing Charizard EX is Delphox V. There is no Delphox V in Michael's list here, so no way to really attack the bench, so you don't need Manaphy.
Right, being able to stay safe from that is going to be big. You know, maybe it's something he's going to just try and learn a little bit more in game number 1. Is that the Hisuian Heavy Ball I witnessed?
In hand, yes.
Yeah, it looks like it's there, so now he knows he can freely go in. First flower selecting, I think he's had enough of the Battle VIP Pass, so throwing one of those away. There's the Pokestop. He does have the Dragonite in hand too. Spins the stop. It's a Colress, a VIP Pass, and a Snorlax. So not really getting great value off that. You know, not much to help him keep going. Does have a Pal Pad if he desperately wants that Colress back.
No,
but he's just going to pass.
Out. That is a little bit rough. You have one of the perfect setups where you can finally get 3 flower selectings on your turn 1 without playing a Colress's Experiment, but then you just have no way to get out of the active. No energy, no switch cart, no escape rope. That Pokestop really needed to put in some work and did not.
Yeah, it didn't get anything of value, really. I mean, just seeing another, you know, another card that isn't helpful this turn, right, is the definite problem. He did have the Hisuian Heavy Ball, does have access to that Greninja, but isn't able to use it with concealed cards because he doesn't have an energy. In response, though, Pram going to start right away with a Battle VIP Pass of his own, grabbing the Pidgey and the Charmander, pretty key components in this deck.
And Michael Pramawat is playing that Pidgey from 151, has 50 HP, so it kind of negates the extra HP you get from Charmander because you're still able to Lost Mine both of these Pokemon, but the fact that John started kind of just so weak with just 1 card in the Lost Zone, you're kind of safe from that turn 2 Lost Mine unless John just has an amazing Colress's Experiment in hand.
Yeah, I really think it would have to be the perfect Colress's Experiment to get him anywhere near where he needs to be. You know, he's not going to be reaching for the Lost Mine in turn 2, I can't see, so probably going to have to start playing around something like the Cramorant. Could maybe, you know, try get more flower selectings going, but he doesn't have any switch cards either. It's going to be the second Battle VIP Pass, so both trainers getting a fair crack of the whip here, being able to just fill their bench with what they want. It's going to be a second Charmander, and of course the Manaphy. So, you know, if he does dig for the Radiant Greninja, that is not going to be super helpful.
Yeah, basically when you're playing a deck like Charizard EX, anytime you're playing against any sort of Comfey deck, you need that Manaphy in play.
Yeah, it's going to be the Pokestop spun by Michael Pramawat. Not getting any value out of that in this one. Lost City comes down, though, so could try and punish there and obviously remove the option from John. And, yeah, just a quick Iono right off the bat. Could be good for John, to be honest.
Yeah, there was no Colress's Experiment in that hand. This is just 6 cards that you're able to try to turn into more Colress's Experiment.
Yeah, he's got 1 gone already, I believe. So he's got a switching card there. He's got the Escape Rope. He's got a Boss's Orders, a Raikou. Nothing that really helps him get to that Colress, though, I don't see. So could be another tricky turn as Entei is just going to pass that turn. And we'll be going back over to John. 1 card in Lost Zone and a pretty lumpy hand at this juncture. Also, that Hisuian Heavy Ball is now stuck on the bottom of his deck.
Yeah, John did not play that and get that Radiant Greninja down on the bench. But, of course, didn't have any energy, so not really a point to do it, but it's still good to get it out of the prize cards because now you're going to need to find it again.
Yeah, and he would have had the energy to use it this turn. He's going to throw away the Nest Ball with this flower selecting. Obviously, knows what that 1 bench spot is needed for. Let's see if he can find a way out. He does have to start switching things around, getting more flower selectings, seeing more cards.
And bringing up that Comfey now. He has access to multiple flower selectings this turn thanks to that switch card in hand. So going to be able to attack with the Cramorant with just an energy to retreat as well as like last resort. And with the Escape Rope, it did bring that Charmander into the active spot. Yeah,
that's something that he can obviously take a quick prize on, maybe get himself a little bit more further forward. Looks like this could be a tough old flower selecting, though. It's going to be the, I think it's a Forest Sealstone. Yeah, and the Mute EX is the other choice. That Forest Sealstone gone. He would have to commit something like the Raikou down to use that, which could be a little bit tempting. There's the switch card, though, that you were talking about. This is going to be his 3rd flower selecting and, of course, 4th card in the Lost Zone. Looks like, we saw a switch card there.
No Colress's Experiment still out of these cards, and that is unfortunate to say the least. John does have a boss's orders, so you can boss's order something like the Pidgey if you're expecting a Rare Candy Pidgeot EX from Michael. Or just take the knockout on that Charmander. But 4 in the Lost Zone now, so you can attack with Cramorant.
Yeah, he did keep a Nest Ball there, I believe. Does get the option on what he wants to get rid of. He's going to pay the energy to retreat. Didn't take the switch card to do it, so clearly values the Nest Ball a little bit more, maybe for the following turn. And Cramorant, staring down one of these Charmanders, would very easily be able to use Lost Provisions to spit innocently. Doesn't have another supporter, though, so could go after something a little bit tastier on the bench.
I guess you can also go for the Manaphy.
Yeah. It's a prize either way, right?
It's
not
a prize, yeah.
You know, maybe keep that boss though for something a little more valuable, as he does just knock out the Charmander and take the first prize of the game. But there's still a Pidgey, a Charmander, and a Manaphy on the bench. Will be the Nest Ball for Michael Pramawat, so being able to probably replenish that pretty quickly.
I guess one point to make too is that Lost City was in play, so if you boss the Manaphy and KO it, it is gone forever this game.
Yeah, that's something I was thinking there, is maybe, you know, get rid of that and you have a Radiant Greninja win condition maybe, or at least advantage to carve out a little bit later on. It looks like he's going and just replenishing that Charmander. He's of course going to use the Entei ability. Ooh, gets a Charizard EX off that as well into the Charmeleon. There's the second energy on to Entei V, which the Burning Rondo here, I mean, these are full benches pretty much all the time, and easy knockouts onto the side of the Lost Box deck, which doesn't have those huge numbers. It is now, you know, 1 prize apiece taken. The Cramorant does go in the prize into the Lost Zone, so it's not coming back out of there. But it, you know, I guess it puts him a step closer to where he needs to be.
Yeah, it means a single Colress's Experiment can get to 7. You have a couple flower selectings to do it. Even the Lost Vacuum in hand could attempt to get there, but John's going to have to rely off the top of the deck with these flower selectings here. Going to thin out a little bit with that Nest Ball.
Yeah, make sure you can find something to just get into the hand and away. Make sure he's just not seeing it with those flower selectings. Maybe see better cards throughout. Obviously, making sure he's aware of his energies as well. Does have a couple in hand. Has only really used 1 to make that retreat. So yeah, get the Dragonite V down. Can of course swing for a lot of damage with the Dragon Gale. Does of course do a bunch of damage to your bench, but it doesn't really matter at that point. Still though, to get this Dragon Gale truly going, he's going to need to get the Mirage Gate. And we're still a little bit shy of that. Too shy, to be precise.
And I still want to bring up the point of the selection of Mew EX versus that Forest Seal Stone. That was really tough from John, because that Forest Seal Stone with the Nest Ball was Colress's Experiment right away. But Mew EX, at least in this matchup, is very good late game against Charizard EX.
Yeah, being able to use the Charizard's strength against it is probably going to be something we're going to see a lot of over this weekend. And, you know, making sure as well he can, if he gets really desperate, restart. But he is just going to switch card this time around, get the second Comfey in. So we're now up to 6. This will be 7.
Oh.
And, yeah, he's finally got there, I believe.
But did not Snap take the Colress's Experiment. So what is that other card? Is it Mirage Gate?
Oh, that would be cruel if it was. Just that would be really mean. Just saying, do you want to go now or do you want to push even further in this one? He's just going to double check his options. We'll get to see which one he takes.
John has not used Colress's Experiment yet this game. Had discarded 1 off that Pokestop turn 1.
This has to be a brutally difficult flower selecting, because in these kind of games, you know, I think a lot of people can lose a lot of time on the clock by mulling over these decisions too much. And, you know, unless you've got a really good reason to do that. Yeah, the count here is interesting. Yeah, it is the Mirage Gate. Oh.
The Mirage Gate and Colress's Experiment was the choice for John there.
Well, yeah.
And did find another Mirage Gate off those 5 cards.
Yeah, I mean, seeing more cards as well, putting yourself closer to the Sableye option definitely makes a lot of sense there. It's a tough one. You know, he has a guaranteed Dragonite attack in this one, but he's got, you know, another Mirage.
He got 2 Mirage Gates.
Yeah, it's 2 Mirage Gates. You know, he's double checking his count, making sure he can use them, flood the bench with energy. And of course, you know, making sure he knows exactly where he is when it comes to the Lost Mine as well. So a lot of tough choices to be made here. Big hand, but making sure he's fully loaded in this one.
And I think the reason why you go with the Colress's Experiment is looking at the hand for John. There was no water energy.
Right.
Usually with Dragonite and 1 Mirage Gate, you need the water energy in hand and then search for the water and lightning.
Yep.
And not having access to that there, Colress's Experiment really paid off for John. Has the Lost Vacuum as well, so There's 10 cards in the Lost Zone, and we got a big attack coming.
Yeah, he can start powering up as well. Just making sure he gets the water and the lightning off this. Could as well, I guess he could really push for it, right? And just start flooding the board with energy using a second Mirage Gate, one of the two he took off that. Maybe power up 2 Sableye really quickly as well. So could really start accelerating through this deck very, very quickly and just giving limited options. Does put the second one down onto the Comfey, though, needs to retreat it. So making sure he's able to get that out of the active. And then the Dragonite's ready for next turn, right? Because he's got the other Mirage Gate.
Yeah, there's also a Super Rod in hand, I believe, so you could retreat the Comfey, shuffle back in both the Lightning Energies that are going to be in the discard, but you also have Lost Mine now, so opportunity to knock out the Charmeleon or take 2 prizes off Pidgey and Charmander. Definitely a decision to make here, but if you don't knock out that Charmeleon, Michael didn't have Rare Candy in hand last turn.
Yeah.
Has to be a Charizard. He even asked, do you have a Charizard EX in that hand?
Yeah. I think he has to take the Charmeleon, right? Just to force the Rare Candy, make it even harder as well for Pram to be able to do it. Oh, he's gone with the other play, though. He's gone with the 2 very tempting prizes. Doesn't get the Radiant Greninja still, but he did get rid of a Pidgey and a Charmander there. The Lost City comes right back. And there, of course, is the evolution to Charizard EX for Michael Pramawat.
Infernal Rain, searching the deck for fire energy, attaching it, charging up that Charizard EX. And this is all Michael Pramawat really needs in play, is the Entei and the Charizard. You can pretty much clear up most of the Pokemon that John's going to put in the active spot.
Well, this Dragonite could come back to haunt John, right? I mean, just trying to play through the single prize would be a lot of work for this Charizard to have to do, just taking 1 prize a turn. But now that Dragonite's on the bench, I mean, if Pram has, any turn in the game where he can get a powered-up Charizard EX and just swing into it, then it's going to be a real tricky situation for him here. So still plenty of work to do. Obviously, just taking 1 prize a turn isn't optimal, but that swings very quickly when you add in the Dragonite. And then the potential turns as well, when you're looking at an Entei and a Charizard EX, you're not able to get easy knockouts with the Sableye like that.
And one big card we see in Michael's hand is going to be Ultra Ball, because it means you have access to something like Lumineon V later on in the game if you need a supporter, and grabs that Radiant Serena from the prizes. That's going to be pretty big too. But John has a prize map laid out. Take a knockout on the Entei, take a knockout on the Manaphy, we're going to game 2.
Yeah.
Just needs to figure out a way to get there.
Yeah, he's got to get the Entei into the active again as well. So definitely got a lot of options. Does have the boss's orders in hand. Has another water, has the Super Rod. So there's definitely plenty of ways to go through this, right? Get the Super Rod, get that energy back in. He does need those lightnings in because he's used 2 of them to retreat with the Comfey. Obviously gets to flower selecting, see if he can find a nice switch card to make it easier on that Comfey. But yeah, John does have the prize map there, especially with that Sableye in hand.
And you have to be very careful of playing that down because it's one of your last attackers in the deck, efficiently at least. You can charge up a Raikou or the Mew EX, but that requires one of your last Mirage Gates.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of work, especially with one of the Mirage Gates already in the Lost Zone. The Raikou going away, though, so doesn't want to play his own fleet-footed attacker. That Lost City is gone. Buy a little bit of time for him here. There's the Super Rod play. So we're going to see him throw back some energy. It's going to be the Psychic, the Lightning. There's another Lightning in there. And that should be all he needs to get into the deck to try and wrap up this game.
Does have access to Mirage Gate and Boss's Orders in hand, along with another Water Energy as a Psychic and the Sableye. Pretty stellar hand here from John after kind of a couple missteps in the first couple turns.
Yeah, it was definitely a bit slower in those turns. Does use that second Mirage Gate that took off the Colress the previous turn. So there is the Dragonite V ready to swing with its big, easy knockout on something like the Entei for 2 prizes. Looks like that double prize knockout on the Pidgey and the Charmander is actually going to be like really important here when it comes to that mapping.
Oh yeah, definitely just having the prize map laid out. You can even grab something like that Radiant Greninja, but you don't even need it now, and that's why leaving the Manaphy in play has just been very beneficial for John.
Yeah, he will of course need to find a Psychic Energy for the side.
It's in hand.
Oh yeah, he's got it ready to swing with that Sableye the next turn. Of course, just needs to get the Comfey out the active, get the Entei into the active, and he does have the boss's orders. So yeah, would be able to do it that way. He's going to go power up the Sableye, drop that down onto the bench. And either way, I mean, he's just going to make sure that he can cause problems. Yeah, there's the switch cart. So the Sableye is ready for next turn. And it should be an easy knockout here as he goes down to just one prize remaining.
I do like benching the Sableye and that energy. Both Lost City are gone. Granted, John doesn't know there's only 2, but there's no threat of that Sableye getting removed from the game for forever. And so you have that set up even with maybe another boss's orders. We know it's not possible and Palpad's gone, but could happen. You're just trying to knock out that mana fee.
Yeah, I mean, it also takes away the potential of an Iono play, right?
Yeah.
You hold it for too long, you get caught with the Iono, and then you're just not able to, actually get the pieces you need. So get it down, kind of offer the choice to Pram. What are you going to do? You've got to knock out the Sableye, otherwise it's just easily going to take out your mana fee the next turn. But you've kind of got to do it with the Charizard, so the Charizard can stay up as a wall for this Dragonite V, because otherwise if you try and do it with anything smaller, anything a little more lightweight, then you're just not going to be able to get that done. So plenty of work to do in this turn for Pram. Needs to be going pretty much flawlessly throughout this one.
Yeah, so Ultra Ball for Luminion, Luminous Sign finds that Boss's Orders. Boss's Orders brings up Sableye. You're going to be able to take the knockout, but that means all John needs is a single escape rope, and we'll be able to take a knockout on any bench Pokemon that Michael's going to be able to play down, because you can't get more Charizard EX in play right now.
No, there's no way to keep another Charizard going. Does take away the threat of the game next turn, so does sort of buy himself a little bit of time. But if you think about it, John, yeah, checking his counts right here.
One escape rope.
He's only used one. I believe he has a Colress in hand, too, so he can just dig through this deck.
I think one in the Lost Zone as well. And yeah, Colress in hand, a couple Flower Selectings if you need them.
Yep.
Pokestop as well.
I want to see him spin the stop first.
Yeah.
I just think it's the more entertaining way to go about it, but that's just my choice.
And you got Greninja and concealed cards.
My goodness. He does, of course, just need to make sure that, everything gets sequenced correctly, just making sure.
Yep.
There's the Colress's experiment.
Looking for an escape rope here.
If he hits it. Oh, 2.
2 of them. All right. And
Yeah.
we're moving on to a game 2 now. John able to clean up pretty efficiently, thanks to just some stellar prize mapping.
Yeah, I mean, fair play to John as well. Kept his head while I think the early game was going a little bit slower for him. This is one of those turbo decks you expect to see a little bit more on turn 2, but as soon as he got to turn 3, both of his Colresses were massive. Being able to get the double Mirage Gate, and then of course the double Escape Rope, overkill, but still nice to see that he is getting all the pieces that he needs.
Meanwhile, Michael Pramawat, one thing that was missing desperately, that rare candy.
Yeah, he got slowed down pretty badly by having to go the manual route, and he does giving up a lot of prizes as well. Wasn't able to really develop the bench as quickly as I think he might have liked. So taking his time there, going the old-fashioned way, stage 1, stage 2. Not what you need when your opponent is ramping up as quickly as John was on this Lost Zone Turbo list.
All right, this one's for all of you at home. It's been a hot topic to debate ever since 151 came out. You got the new Charmander, that's an auto-inclusion. But then you got a new Pidgey, and it is 10 less HP, but it has Call for Family for 2. Do you play that one, or do you still just play the 60 HP one? If Pramawat was playing the 60 HP one, that double knockout turn was not going to happen with that Sableye.
Yeah, I think the evidence there kind of leans towards it. This is a very rough set of prizes, I think, with the mana fee in there, so that's Sableye. Hopefully he'd pull the mana fee early, but there's a lot of pieces in there. A Forest Seal Stone as well. Does start with just a Charmander, though, so definitely got some options. But the Cramorant's already out for John in the active. We'll need to get that switched around. Would much prefer that to be a Comfey. But, definitely options in this deck with switch carts, escape ropes, and all that good stuff.
Cramorant is your early game attacker, but not this early.
Yeah.
You need some flower selectings first to build up that Lost Zone.
Yeah, end of the first turn.
Yeah, end of the first turn. There
not now. This is way too early. But, being able to start going through the deck, Pram can start figuring out what's in there, just getting the pieces he needs. Does want to start developing Charmanders, hopefully finding the rare candies for them as well a little bit later, so he can get those right into the Charizard EXs.
It'd be really sick if I could do the Greninja thing, man. It would be really sick.
For those of you at home, you can see the players having a little chat. John is already calling his play and wants to do the Greninja thing. So
I'm looking at this hand, I think he has some availability too. It's going to start things off with Cold Experiment. There's a Pokestop in hand as well.
Okay, well we've got
switch outs.
We've got a Battle VIP pass. He's taking that.
Nest Ball.
Nest Ball and an Energy. Okay, Super Rod goes back into the Lost Zone, which was obviously a big card from the last game, and the Snorlax, which isn't super necessary here. Will be getting a couple of Comfey out, just going through, seeing what's available for him. Aha! He's found it, and he's put it right at the front of his deck, just making sure he's got all the pieces. Does have a little way to go, of course, trying to reach for all of the cards required to Mirage Gate, but he's going to have at least a bit of an extra chance now, being able to see some extra cards. Did take the energy off the Colress too. Before he does that, back on in with the Nest Ball.
Going to grab that second Comfey, and now you have access to 2 Flower Selectings and a Concealed cards. Going to probably start with the Concealed cards. At least just that's what most people tend to do. You get more information from seeing before you have to decide which card you're going to send away forever.
Yeah, well, the choices so far have been pretty interesting. Here he goes, Concealed cards. That is going to be a quick 2. Gets another energy and another energy.
Okay, that might actually slow things down from a Moonlight Shuriken play this turn.
Yeah, we'll see the Escape Rope into, obviously, just the other Charmander. But now he gets to go Flower Selecting. And this is where he needs to really start hitting perfect pairs that one can go, one can stay. Forest Seal Stone, Manaphy, easy. Does, of course, need something to put the Forest Seal Stone on, which is a bit of a problem. But he's going to get more chances to do that. As there's the next Flower Selecting. There's 1, there's 2. Let's see what he gets. Keeping them hidden from us. It's going to be a Power Pad into the Lost Zone. So it has to be confident in the Raikou V.
Wow.
The perfect partner for this Forest Seal Stone. So just needs 3 more cards in there. That is, of course, going to be a tough old way to do it. But think about what he's got in hand with the Pokestops as well.
Pokestops, but it's going to need to be like the perfect spin of that stop, including Super Rod. And Lost Vacuum.
It's the vacuums with what he can reach with now, right? Being able to, remove your own pieces would be big. Oh my goodness.
No!
Oh my.
What? Super Rod and double Lost Vacuum off the Pokestop. I think John's going to be able to do it here. Has Mirage Gate in hand. Doesn't even need the Super Rod.
He can get rid of his own stop. There's the 7. He's got the gate, and he's got the water energy.
But does he have a way to switch out now?
That is a great question.
Oh, well, he can attack with the Raikou now.
Oh.
He lost Vacuum.
He lost
before Seal Stone before using it.
Oh. That is devastating. No. John has played that near perfectly, but he has no way. Yep.
That 4 Seal Stone just sitting in the Lost Zone.
He was so excited at the double vacuum.
That was going on Twitter, bro.
Oh no, John!
What?
I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah, he's got to put the energy on to the Comfey. All he needed to do was grab anything, a switch cart,
escape
ropes, whatever he wanted. That is brutal. To have access to that play, the immediate Greninja, and to throw it away like that. That's a rough beat.
Well, we're going to still get a knockout. Cramorant's going to spit innocently, but Michael Pramawat's going to be able to play this game now. Has access to Arven and a Charizard in hand.
He has been let off the hook there, being able to escape and actually play past turn 2 of this game. John knows what he's done. You can see he's not particularly happy about that one, but he's got to keep this tempo up. It was the complete opposite of game 1, right? He hits all of the pieces. A turbo I haven't seen of such magnitude in quite some time, but that is one that he's going to have to take a beat on. It is going to be the rare candy to make that a Charizard EX. He's, of course, going to go and grab a bunch of energy with the Infernal Rain. Just getting himself ready with the Burning Darkness. And, if he wants to keep digging, keep setting things up, Pram does have the Forest Seal Stone. Could maybe get that in use.
Talk about top player privilege, am I right?
Oh, yeah. Pram's been... that's a gift if I ever saw one.
And, yeah, it's just you don't need to bench any other Pokemon because they're going to get knocked out right away by John. So go ahead and take that knockout. Hope this Charizard EX goes the distance.
Yeah. Oh, there's the escape rope off the top, too.
Oh, no.
Oh, the missing piece. Not being able to get away with that
another
one.
Seal Stone.
Yeah, he could use it this time if he manages to pop it down on that Raikou. But
That hurts. That hurts a lot.
yeah, he's talking about it now with
I know,
Pram.
I know,
But you know, he
bro.
doesn't have the premium targets for that Radiant Greninja because Charizard's a little bulkier than Charmander.
What? How bulky?
Like a lot more bulkier. I believe it's
Trying to do some math in your head.
260 health bulkier, yes. Which, you know, even 260 health can be a bit of a reach for this deck, right? And you
Oh,
think about
yeah.
that, you know, just on top, there's nothing on that side. And Pram also, you think, all right, what's this Charizard going to be able to do? You know, how do you deal with this Charizard? Okay, you could try and two-shot it. Maybe hit it with something like the Raikou and the Dragonite, right? Well, problem is there's nothing on the bench. So the Raikou is doing a pittance of damage in this one.
A good course experiment here. Found off that 4 Seal Stone, I believe. Now John has a few cards to look through. I think the game plan is if Pramawat's just going to sit here with this lone Charizard EX, eventually Mew EX is going to do enough damage to one-shot it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other thing I found quite interesting here is, like, you know, Pram's just going to start wearing things down, right? He's just going to just hit it with the Charizard every single time, take away his resources. You know, now you're at the point, you're at 10 already. Like, do you need the Confays? Maybe you could give them up. But then, of course, yeah, try and just swing back, right, with the Mew
I'm way
EX.
too fast, bro. I'm way too fast, bro.
To be fair to both of these competitors, for those of you who can, you know, listen in, just see the reactions, they are both having a good giggle about
Oh,
that
yeah.
misplay turn 1. So John taking it a lot better than I think some people would.
And no matter how much money is on the line, the world's invite or anything like that, it's still just Pokemon. We're still just playing a game here, and it's supposed to be for fun, you know?
Yeah, if you're not having fun, then you probably shouldn't be playing at these
Yeah.
tournaments, to be honest. You know, that's a big thing there. Oh, there's the Dragonite V, could be an interesting one. Does take it, the Nest Ball as well. So Dragonite V could actually swing for an almost threatening amount of damage, right?
Yeah.
Being able to Dragon Gale and then, you know, put it well within reach of a Cramorant or, you know, anything from the Raikou, really. That would be pretty big. I mean, it would leave it with 80. So, yeah, could cause a bit of a problem. There is going to be a Super Rod early on. Get some resources back. So there's the Cramorant.
I like this play.
Yeah, I do too. You know, he's already got that Mirage Gate, which he wasn't able to use last turn, and could set up for the Dragon Gale, and has the Escape Rope as well. So he has his switching options, he has all his pieces, and I think that's going to be pretty good for him there. Yep, there's the Mirage Gate. He's getting the couple of energy down that he needs, just needs the one more, and he's going to be able to force Pram into finding some more cards to put on his bench. Does have access to plenty of them, but are they the cards that are going to kind of accelerate him through this game? There's the third energy. There's the switch card. And he's just going to throw down 250 damage. That's big. That puts this Charizard in danger of that Cramorant that he just put back in the deck, too.
It's a combo.
Yeah.
Radiant Serena is going to be the Pokemon for Pramawat. Here it's going to heal off a little bit of damage, but still enough perfect math for that Cramorant to spit innocently and take that knockout on Charizard EX. So Pram's going to have to find some more attackers, but thankfully got that Manaphy.
Yeah, he's got the Manaphy, so that helps against the Radiant Greninja play. You know, would be able to stop him just throwing down big damage on the bench. Obviously can't just hide the Charizard back there. You know, maybe switching it up, maybe trying to play it a different route. But, you know, getting some Pokemon down. That said, powers up the Raikou V, which is going to be big if he needs to try and swing with that a little bit later on. Also powers up the Entei, so
Yeah.
it works out for both trainers there.
For Sealstone to go along with it, and an Iono, so both players going to draw 5 cards here.
That Iona could be really rough for John, actually. Had a lot of pieces in hand to kind of accelerate him through the rest of the game, but that's a very good 5.
For John, yeah, because for Michael Pramawat, not so much.
Yeah, I was looking at John's side, just, you know, what did he lose, what did he get in exchange? Well, he managed to bag a Chorus's Experiment, a Mirage Gate, a couple Energy, and a Mew EX. I'd say that's pretty good.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Pram filling up the bench, getting down another Charmander, so does want to build towards a potential second Charizard EX. The V-Stars are flipped as well, so both of them finally using the Forest Steel Stone.
Ooh, perfect math here.
Yeah, just making sure he gets it all the way there. Getting that Choice Belt down usually doesn't matter against this deck, but in this case, certainly helping him out.
Normally with Charizard, it struggles against cards like Miraidon EX and just anything with like 220 HP. You take your one knockout, and then you have to figure out a way to get boosted past that. Choice
Yep.
Belt doesn't really work on the EX, but against this Pokemon V, perfect.
Yeah, does absolutely fine. Making sure that he takes a quick 2 prizes. So Pramawat going ahead in the prize count here, but I think John's in a solid position to try and fire back pretty quickly. Does have a very plump lost zone there, so could start trying to mess around with a Sableye as well, if that's the option for him. But just taking stock of his hand, making sure he knows what he's got. Oh, the Cramorant right off the top. He's going to be able to keep digging, though, with this Colrus, but it should be easy enough to pick up some extra knockouts and a couple extra prizes on to this Charizard.
The hand of UEX Cramorant and some energies to go along with a Mirage Gate. Gonna add to it. Don't need that Nest Ball and Battle VIP pass.
Well, not when you're drawing the Cramorant for turn and then you're getting the Sableye off the Colrus's experiment. He's just doing the math there. That's going to be pretty much perfect for him. It is, I think he gets an extra 10, so he's at 180. Yeah, he's at 230. So yeah, the Spit Innocently is going to do 10 extra damage. So almost perfect.
Yeah, I can't count.
That's why I'm here. They bring me in as the math magician. Even though you asked me the difference between Charmander and Charizard, and I panic, but I'm still claiming math magician for the time being. There is going to be another flower selecting, just keeping the lost zone going. There, of course, is the Cramorant. Does have the switch cart as well, so it is going to be the Charizard EX getting knocked out at the end of this turn.
And the switch cart here is going to heal off that 20 damage. Not really going to matter too much, but you always love to see it.
Yeah, just keep those Compeys safe from the massive damage that Charizard EX does.
Cramorant able to take 2 free prizes here, meaning John's just going to need 3 to finish off this game and the match. Also going to tie things up. And Pramawat's going to need to find a lot of help. This hand is not very good. Already used that 4 Seal Stone last turn.
Yep. He's going to probably have to start going with the Entei, right? Just get rid of this Cramorant. Gets the fleet-footed, gets an extra card, there's an energy. Oh, we're going the old school Charmeleon route.
That energy was very much needed because now you can Burning Rondo with Entei V to take the knockout. And beforehand, you did not have it.
Yeah, you were missing that, and with no way to get that energy out as well. This hand, apart from this, is pretty terrible, but does need to make sure that he's getting easy knockout on the Cramorant. But I have to imagine being able to fire back is going to be pretty easy for the side of John. 230 is not the bulkiest of Pokemon, but at least it's bulkier than something like the Raikou, right? Which is a big thing here.
John does have some options too because
his hand is huge.
Yeah, it's a massive hand, and you have access to flower selecting, concealed cards, all that. You do need to figure out what your prize map is for the rest of this game. You can take the knockout on the Charmeleon with something like a Sableye, but if you do that, it's going to get Lost Zoned thanks to Lost City, or a boss's orders and a couple more Pokemon can just end the game on that Raikou V sitting on the bench. So you can't really attack with a 2-prizer this turn.
No, I think you have to play around it. And the awkward thing is, something like that Radiant Serena could just kind of come up. I think Sableye this turn, maybe just get rid of the Charmeleon. And maybe it's a slow Sableye. Of course, the Entei would just come back and Burning Rondo it. Is there a way he can get rid of it? It does have plenty of cards to try and bump it, but it could be a very tricky one, honestly, for John to navigate. The math just isn't as clean going into this one. When he was at 3 prizes last time, you knew exactly what was coming. But yeah, this Sableye will go up into the active. He is going to be able to, very comfortably Lost Mine, but his Lost Zone at 16 cards and a Psychic Energy in hand. But it's sort of just saying, okay, when can I find a knockout on this Entei?
John does have Roxanne in hand as well, but Michael hasn't really played much of anything these past couple turns. Has just drawn the card, played like 1 card, attacked.
Yeah.
So if you lose to something like a boss's orders, maybe it's better that you don't Roxanne, just because it gives Pramawat a chance to draw it more, but you still only go to 2 cards.
Yeah, I mean, he goes down to very little. Would probably be relying on a fleet footwork as well, so
Don't scare me, bro. Dude, it's been so
the,
long.
the banter from the players this game has been pretty impeccable, to be honest. I'll give them both credit for that. Making sure he hadn't called us this turn when he saw the Roxanne.
It's for the crowd, man. We're working the crowd right now.
He's working the crowd right now. That's what he's saying.
I mean, they are. They've got the room going. This is a very interesting one, though, because, you know, let's say John can't reach it. We do have to start being mindful of the time. How he's going to be able to do that. Just 2 for Pram. Not feeling so good about that. Let's see what John gets. Looking a little bit better. Does have the poker stop. So could get rid of that lost city, which makes him a little bit safer, I think, moving forward.
Yeah.
There's the lost vacuum. Well, he's going to get rid of it that way. You know, just clear out some of the nonsense it's stuck in the hand. But yeah, this lost mine now becomes way more impactful.
Did you get Charizard?
Do you have Charizard?
There's Charizards everywhere on Pram's side. That's what his sleeves are. Yeah,
Again.
we'll see what John goes with here. He's going with the he's going with the Manaphy.
Okay.
And so that gives him 5 more to play with. But he could go for the Serena here as well.
It's 5, but it's
But
going to
they're
get
gonna
healed off.
yeah.
So 3.
I don't know if I like this. I don't know if I like this side at all.
Technically, you leave more damage on board than just taking the knockout on the Charmeleon, but Charmeleon in an active spot with no Charizard, you can't really do much of anything else.
Yeah.
I think that was the boss's orders off the top of the deck, too. I don't know if there's enough Pokemon in play to really take the knockout here. You're the math magician, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty close. It's just, you know, swinging with the Charmeleon with combustion for 20. That's not one I prepped coming into this weekend, but that damage is gonna certainly add up on that Sableye. I assure you, Jeremy.
And that art is stellar.
Yeah, yeah. That's our Charmeleon review here over on the Trading Card Game stream. But yeah, I mean, at some point, right, if he can make sure that the benches are full enough, just get that Burning Rondo onto the Raikou V, could tie this one up. But that said, I mean, if he loses the Charmeleon as well, the count goes down. He's checking the cards in hand. So yeah, it's going to be really, really close, I think, in this one. He's just making sure he does the counts. So yeah, he's just making sure he doesn't get caught by the Burning Rondo to take it up to 1-on-1.
And I think he's sensing here, you would need a lot of bench Pokemon along with that boss's orders to do it. Takes the knockout on the Charmeleon. Top decks, Charizard EX. Wasn't the good one.
I'm going to fleet foot it.
No, I mean, just, yeah, being able to Burning Rondo, so 20, 40, 68. Yeah, he's just not close on that Raikou V.
Yeah.
So that boss's order's not looking good enough, and at some point as well, you know, he just has to take the knockout on the Sableye, force John to try and respond, force John to find a piece, because otherwise he's going to be able to cause problems here. Oh, I see what he's going with. Super Rod.
Yep.
Let's put those back in. He's going to put them just the only cards in his deck, Chorus's Experiment, and of course would take the knockout on the Radiant Serena there.
Yep.
So being able to take that one, really well done, John.
Little mistake in the very beginning, but we overcame it, and it was kind of a slow start from Pramawat anyway. I want to kind of explain some of the sequencing at that very last part of the turn. So with Flower Selecting and with Chorus's Experiment, it says put 1 card in your hand, then put the other one in the Lost Zone, or put 3 cards in your hand, put the rest in the Lost Zone. So 1 card in the deck, you just get that Super Rod right to your hand. Play the Super Rod, get Sableye Psychic Energy, then you play Chorus's Experiment, just put Sableye Psychic Energy in your hand, and then you have the retreat with that energy on the Comfey and active spot, taking the knockout with Lost Mine on that Radiant Serena. Really great sequencing of plays for John at the end of that game there.
Yeah, and honestly as well, you know, the numbers worked so well for him. Taking out the Charmeleon, putting the extra 2 onto the Radiant Serena, so it did just tick up a little bit more. Again, of course, heal itself off, but then was an easy knockout, and I believe a perfect knockout. Oh no, 1 extra. One extra.
Come on, Math Magician, what are you doing?
1 extra. I was thinking I had 110 because he got the sweet one, but he's always going extra damage.
Yeah.
But no, really nicely done by John in this one. Let's take a moment. This is all the way back in game 1, if you remember it.
The very crucial decision of Mirage Gate or Chorus's Experiment.
This is the Chorus's Experiment that gave him all the pieces he needed. He does, of course, spread things around, take that double knockout, but that sets him up for perfect prize math. when it comes down to just taking out the Entei, and then he's going to be able to tidy up with Lost Mine the following turn. So yeah, just making sure he had all the pieces. Escape ropes, yeah, that's wraps that one up as Pram threw it into game number 1. Game number 2, John has all the pieces, spins the stop, hits the vacuums, and the super rod. He's looking real pleased with himself. He's going away. And there it is.
Too fast.
Discards the Forest Seal Stone. And he's discarded so much by the time he realizes, of course, Pram's not going to let him take it back. And a little bit of frustration, but it works out all right for John in the end. He's able to keep playing the game. He gets Pram down to just 1 piece. And then, of course, puts in, as you said, the Sableye and the Psychic Energy, and he's able to wrap things up there by getting the knockout on the Radiant Serena. So definitely showing a couple of different lines from this Turbo Lost. You know, if you slow it down, you can still win, apparently.
A roller coaster of emotions for John there. But now moving on to 5-0, I believe. And Michael Pramawat started out 4-0, now 4-1. Still plenty of Pokemon left in day 1 to try to make that day 2 Swiss. Remember, these players need 19 match points to make it into that day 2.
Yeah, I mean, 19 match points doesn't sound like a lot, but when you think of how many wins there are and how limited the rounds are, yeah, that's a pretty big ask.